Good morning, everyone. So today I have the last item that Diamond Press brought to HSN for the craft day today. It has a auto ship and then just a regular, if you just want to pick up the one-time shipment of this one here is the Slimline Shadowbox. It's called a Little Birdie. I guess it's a Little Birdie Slimline Shadowbox card stamp and dies kit, something like that. It had a lot of descriptors, this one did. So Diamond Press did send this item free of charge for my review, and all opinions are my own. Any links I have in the description box are affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So I will have the links for this, plus all the other items that Diamond Press did bring around this time. And you might have seen this presented earlier with Beth, and when I mean earlier, I mean like I think it was 1 o'clock in the morning-ish Eastern, around then. So late, early, either one. Super cute, you guys. And I always say if you can get the auto ship, sign up for the auto ship. You can always skip in advance, like the auto ship manager will be updated as soon as basically your order is processed. It'll be there. If not, sometimes it takes a couple days. I've noticed that the last few go rounds with HSN. I'm gonna try to open this over here so it's not too crinkly. So what happens with the auto ships on this one is, hopefully you can see here, this is your main die. And so this is from the first set, right? We're having this larger die, this outside one that makes the Shadowbox, the Slimline Shadowbox, right? We have this guy. And then this time around, we have this cute aperture. It looks like a little window, like arch. Super cute. So in the next auto ship, it'll have one of these dies, this larger die that inserts or inlays into this one, and it'll have a different shape and lots of cute things to go along with it. Of course, different themes. So I just think it's awesome just to mix and match, obviously, back into this. So again, we have the arches this time around with a little birdie. We have little birdhouse pieces. These cut a cat and then like some birds here, and we'll look at those on the stamps. Some birdhouse embellishments. We have a little tree. I believe these are probably for the birdhouse. We'll see. The little sticks is what it looks like. Grass, and then the Shadowbox grass. So this one kind of pops out the grass a little bit. A little fencing. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I have a feeling it's the tree probably. The tree part. We should have maybe looked at the stamps first. And then this, I love this banner. It's really nice and long. I mean, you can use all your Slimline die sets and cards and things. It's really versatile, really cool to have. It does come with the elongated cutting folder, which is really nice. This, obviously fits your Slimline dies, but you can also just put like a ton of smaller dies and get things cut out at once, instead of working in smaller sections of project, right? So I think that's really cool. Let's look at the stamps that are in this kit. So lots of sentiments. I mean, so basically with all those little apertures, little portals, I mean, you can put sentiments in there. You can put, your die cuts in there, however it is that you want to use it. It's so funny. I hadn't noticed that these were on here, and I was thinking, maybe I should use like a plain paper. In my mind already, I'm thinking about what I want to do with this, and I was thinking if they had solid clouds, I would like that, and there they are. So that works out. That'll help me with what I'm thinking I want to do. We have like a wood grain look you can probably use with the fencing. We have the little leaves for your tree, some branches and things like that. You can just add in and put your little birdies on there however you like. The little birds, the cat, more little leaves here. It says your friendship means the world to me. There's just tons of sentiments on this one. The world needs more of you. I've been thinking of you, dear friend. Smile, happy looks good on you. I mean, there's just tons. And the little birds just flying. I love that. I love those kind of things. You can really play with that with lots of different projects. And then the instructions. So I'm going to give these a quick once over. So this does make a Shadowbox a card front. If you want to then attach it to a card, of course, you can build it on your card base. You can build it off of the card base and then attach it to the card base. There's different things that you can do with it and working with it that way. I think I did notice when Beth was showing it that it doesn't quite lay down completely, so I'm going to see if I can work around that. That way you can still put it in a flat envelope, but we will see. Otherwise you can just build it up. You can also build it flat. You don't have to give it the layers of the Shadowbox. You can just kind of layer up with just foam, right? Foam adhesive. But so let's just take a quick look at this. So we're going to cut 2 of the Shadowbox front, and it says 2 of the Shadowbox back. So I'm going to read over this just have a better idea, of course. It doesn't have too many steps, guys, because whatever you would like to do to build up your little shadow box. So let me look this over. Let me grab some paper, and we will get started. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to read over and see why it is that we're cutting 2, and I understand that now. So step 1 is just to cut 2 again. I'm going to use white paper because I do like the white frame look. Whatever color paper you like to use, of course. I grabbed a few sheets because I'm not sure exactly how much I'll need. And I am going to cut one of the back pieces in blue. So I'm going to cut one white and one blue. And then the fronts are both going to be white. So let me grab this guy. And like it says, you cut 2 of the Shadowbox front. I just want to see if it fits this way. Okay, so we're going to need this. So that's why I grabbed a couple pieces of paper. So we're going to cut 2 with the insert. Okay, so I would just put it just like this. Of course, I trim my paper down, but either way, just like that. I'm going to tape that down. Let me grab some tape. I will trim down my paper so I can get it through my die cutting machine here and do the marquee. Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 of these out, and when I trim it down, honestly, I just kind of do a quick one of these. And then I'm going to cut, so 2 just like this that have the apertures, and then I'm going to cut 1 out of the white paper that's just the outer frame, and 1 out of the blue paper that's just the outer frame, and I will use a well-loved folder because that's the kind of thing I like to do. But I do have a folder here, as you can see. It has some warping. That's just fine. It'll cut just fine. So I'll put this into the marquee. And then, again, I'll cut another one. And just the outer frame out of a white paper and a blue paper. I just want to show you really quickly. But it's not a problem to use a folder that is well loved. Okay, I will be right back. I want to show you, when I removed it to cut the next one, these are still stuck together by the tape, and that's what I want, so that they're exactly the same. Because we're going to cut the tab off of one side. We're going to cut this tab off. But I still want them to be basically the same. So I like that the tape holds it together, and when I run it through, it's going to be exactly the same where the holes are made, instead of this shifting a little bit or something, it's gonna be the same. So I'll run that through, I'll be back. Okay. So let me remove this here. And this, we'll put that back. So that was step 1. Step 2 does say using a paper trimmer or scissors to cut tab end off of one of the Shadowbox fronts. So I'm going to put these to the side again. These are the back pieces. And I cut a blue one because I'm going to layer that over this piece. So we'll talk about that in a minute. On this guy. And this one I got a little tape on here. So I'm going to use that for the back. I don't want to pick it off. So I'm going to leave that one there. And I'm just going to take scissors, but you can take a paper trimmer. Basically, you're going to cut this whole, see how there's a score line there? We're going to take this one off. And I'm just going to do it, hopefully, following that line. But again, a paper trimmer would get you a little more accurate cut there. And we're just going to glue these 2 pieces together. All right. And just this one over this. I'm just going to smooth that out and wait for that to set up before I move on to step 3, which is just to fold the Shadowbox front die cut at score lines, these score lines here. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. So I'll just let this set up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I cut mine a little bit differently because I cut the tab off of the side that I cut it off. So this one's showing to be on the other side. So what I do going forward is going to be a little bit different, but it doesn't really matter which side you choose. Just pick a side. But it does say to go ahead and fold this. It does say to fold it towards you, but basically when we use this, it's going to come around like this, right? So I'm just going to take the other piece. I'm going to take the white piece because I'm going to layer the blue piece in after I decorate and do some fun things. So all we're going to do is basically stick this piece to this piece here. And hopefully you can kind of see the construction. It goes like this, right? And that's your basic box there. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. So I am deviating a little bit, but I think in this tutorial or review, I am going to deviate some anyhow because, like I said, I want to be able to squish it down to get into a card. So it's going to be a little bit different to get into an envelope, should I say. And speaking of that, you know, I wanted to measure this because I believe in the preview, I think Beth had mentioned it's 3.5. Yeah, it's just over 3.5 inches that way. But I think she said it's 8.25 this way. Or 8, so 8 inches. So again, you can layer this onto a card base. We'll talk about that in a minute. But for now, I want to do the basic construction. So we have this. So just one long strip, right? And this is going to come around. And on this guy, I'm going to layer it in here. But again, on the second piece, you're going to cut the tab end off. And then I'm going to decorate this up a little bit because this is going to be back here when this comes around, and this comes around up on the other side, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some white pigment ink because I think that's fun, and I'm going to stamp some clouds on this. So let me grab that ink and the block and all that good stuff, and I'll be right back. So I forget, white pigment inks are very hard to come across. I know there's some really great ones out there. I have this vanilla cream one, super old, from close to my heart, and I think it's still pretty juicy. I hardly ever open it, so we'll see. And it's vanilla cream, so it's not completely white, but I think it'll be great. And a lot of times with pigment inks, you want to heat set them, or maybe even pop some, what's the word? Some clear embossing powder on it, or however, just to get it set and not have it smear. But I'm going to heat set it probably. Look how cute. Give it a little distress look. It looks really adorable. So I'm just going to stamp this all over the place. I should put like a little scrap paper behind here. This is not scrap paper, but that's okay. Just use the other side whenever I go to use it. And just, you know, ink all around, or do your little stamping all around. And I'll use some of the other sizes too, and I'll be right back. So I did heat set that a little bit. I'm still not going to touch it because I'm always afraid of pigment ink moving. So I'm going to put this to the side for now with our frame here, and we'll look at that in just a second. What I want to do is do some of the other pieces that I'm going to cut here. So I have a couple things here. We're going to cut some grass. Now, there's a little grass that makes you a little box that gives you a little bit of depth. It's about half the depth of the shadow box, so this grass will appear kind of towards, you know, in the mid area of your shadow box. Since I want this to fold flat, I'm just going to use these pieces. So I'm going to cut 3 of these out of my green paper, and then I'm going to cut these guys too. Now, I don't know if I should do the stamping first or the cutting first. Let's see. Where is this? That's about the right size. What I'll do first, no, let's see. I'll stamp it and then I'll place my die over it, I think. So let me get this. Let me get my Friar Brown, because I'm using craft cardstock, so I can use a darker brown to kind of give it some depth. And I'll do a few of these, so 3 of them. We have the 3 apertures, so I think I'll put the fence all along, but you don't have to do that. You can do it wherever you like. And then I'm going to cut this guy, because most of this, some of this will be showing, but a lot of it won't be. And if I miss any pieces, I'll come back later with the same stamp and just stamp some more. So I will tape that down, and I'll run it through. Where is my tape? This is what happens, you know, you start crafting and you put things to the side and they get further and further to the side. Well, I'll use this little cutie. All right. Okay, so I'll come back off 3 of the grass and 3 of these guys cut. My pieces cut. I just want to show you on this. I would say just die cut it first and then stamp it so you can have the stamp where you want it to be. Okay, so let me clean this up and we'll put these layers together. Before we get back to building the background, I am going to cut a few more things just so we have everything ready. So I'm going to cut my little tree base out of the same craft cardstock that I had here. I'm going to cut the little green tree here. I'm just trying to yeah, I'll cut it from the same green color. You know, if you want to bring in some variation, I would do a different color of green from the grass, but that'll be fine there. And then our little birdhouse. So we have a few different things here. Again, we can put wood grain on all these things, so I think that's really cute. So let me think. I'm going to pop this guy on top of there. I think I'm going to do a little red birdhouse, though. That's cute. I like red. So I'm going to cut this out with some, for some red. I'm going to cut this out of the same wood color. So you want a white base or something, whatever it is that you want for your little birdhouse. I'm going to cut out of that. And then I'm going to do a little white trim. So I'll cut this from some white paper. And then as far as the birds, we'll work on those in just a minute. So this is just for the base of the card. So I'll be right back. I have my little pieces here. So I'm going to take a second to do some stamping and some inking. Whenever you have a die cut card, just doing a little inking really adds a lot. And a lot of times I kind of skip over that. I leave it crisp and clean, but I think I'm going to do a little bit of inking today. So let me grab this here. So this set of leaves goes with this guy, the treetop, but if you were to use the tree branch stamp, you have this little set of leaves here that goes with that. So I'm just going to do tone on tone with this green, of course. And I'm just going to pop that on there just to give a little something else. So cute. And then I'm just going to take whatever distressing tool I have handy here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ink, and I'm going to do this basically to everything. So the grass that I cut earlier, where did I put it? Right here. Just add a little something on the very tips just to give it a little variation color. I'm going to take my Friar Brown and anything that I had cut in the brown paper, I'll give a little something to, like this. Okay, and the little red house, I'll just do a little red inking around the edges, and yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's assemble these little pieces. Just adding a little glue to that. And popping that right on there. And that looks actually super cute, just like that. If you want to run through the same die that makes this little birdhouse and get that little black center, and you can pop a little black dot in there, just use the negative that's left. You can also use a marker or just leave it the way it is. Let me make sure this is die cut. Nope. So cute. Hold that down. I think that's the only thing. Oh, the tree. I was gonna say, I think this is the only thing that needs assembling, but we have this little guy. And I'll get to making a bird or two in just a minute here, but I just want to see. Cute. So mine's really going to be more of a 2-layer depth card, because like I said, I want to be able to squeeze it down. But if you use that mid layer, it definitely has 3 layers: the very front, the middle ground, and the back, right? Super cute. Aw, you know, I'm gonna move this up just a little bit more so we can see more of the little branches. I think that's cute. Okay, I'm gonna let that set up, and one other thing I'm going to do on this background here is just stamp with some black ink. I'll just stamp this little set of birds. I don't know if I'm probably just in one spot, maybe over here. Just with some black ink. And if you want, you can bring back your base just to see kind of what's going to be poking through, and you'll have an idea of where you want to stamp those little birdies. Oh, so cute. Maybe I'll put them here, since there's not a cloud in that area. Just right there. Cute. Okay, I'll be right back. So I know usually I stick to the instructions. Again, if you're going to do the 3D little grass, excuse me, all you're going to do is just fold it and, you know, glue it down so that it's in these sections here. So it gives a little space in between. So I suppose I can probably go ahead and adhere this in here, because Now all I'm going to do is start building things up. So I'm just going to glue this down. And that's why I cut this in blue. If you wanted 2 white pieces, or if you wanted to make your own background, of course do that way. But for now I'm just going to glue that down. And I'm going to give some pre-scoring to this side just so I know where that is. Okay. Again, I don't really want to rub that pigment ink, even though I heat set it. It's some persnickety stuff to work with. So basically our card's going to look like this. And what I'm saying is that I want to squish it. After it's glued, I want to be able to flatten it completely. So if you have that little 3D part in there, the grass, unless you did something to glue it to this, that it moves together. And when you squish this, that's going to it's going to want to stay popped up. And then if you squish that, it's not going to come back up with the card when you go like this. Does that make sense? That's kind of why I'm keeping it separate. So I'm just going to do a different way of doing your shadow box. Of course, you can do whatever you want. So have fun with it, you know. Let's see. So I was going to put the little fencing in the front here. So cute. So basically, as you can see, I only stamped down a certain spot, so I know this is going to be covered. So what I'm going to do is just put glue basically on every single one of those little tabs, and then on the very sides, because that's what's going to be really behind these pieces here. And then I'm just going to glue those in. And try to keep it about the same, you know, so that the fence, it'll be straight. We'll have a straight fence. That makes me laugh. I remember one time I lived in Fresno, a gentleman came by and offered to fix our fence because he cannot stand to see a crooked fence. And, you know, he got the job, so I guess that works. It was just a little bit crooked too, though. Anyway, so I'm just going to put a little glue on both of these things. And we still joke about that to this day. My husband and I can't stand to see a crooked fence. All right, let's put this here. So as you can see, I'm just kind of eyeballing where the other one ended. So they're about the same. And I'll glue one more on this side. Gosh, you guys, this looks so cute already. Look at this. It looks so crisp and clean and just pretty. Look at that. I love it. Okay, as far as the grass, now I'm just debating if I should do 2 layers because this is going to be in the background. But I kind of want it high enough. I don't know if I want to place it like here, because you can see it, or if I want to place it much higher. I'll probably just bring it down. Again, you know, whatever you like to do. If you want to do a couple layers, then I would do a couple layers. I probably should use a different glue, to be honest, because this glue sets up so fast. What I'm looking at is I'm pretty much going to place it about there. I can see that that's kind of where the window ends, so that way it looks much deeper than it is. Yeah, and then just place them. You know, you have a good amount of space here that you can play with, so it's not the biggest deal if it's not quite exactly in the right little spot there. But I'll put this one here and just eyeball it, you know. That looks pretty good. And you can connect them all, you know, you don't have to give them the spacing that I'm doing. So I think by the time I get down here, I'm gonna have to move it over anyway, yeah. Oh, Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. Loves to stick so quickly. Let me see how far over I have to move that. Yeah, they connect right one next to the other. So with the 3D part of it, the other one, you do have a little bit of spacing in between them, but you're basically going to nestle them right next to each other. You can see that in the instructions. How cute is this grass? Yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm going to let this set up, and I'll see about how I want to plan the rest of the card, and I'll be right back. I'm going to do something like this just for funsies, and what I'm going to do is actually use some dimensional adhesive to put both of these things down. So let me see here. You know, I'll use on this one. It's not too big. I'll just use a couple of these little guys. And then I'm going to cut a little bird or two, like I said, and then our sentiment. So this guy's going to be out here. And I just thought that was a cute spot for him, you know, however, wherever you want to put your little accessory pieces. That's cute. And this guy also some dimensional, just to bring him up into like the middle ground. Again, if you want to use your 3D grass, you already have some middle ground, then you can attach this to that part. However you want to do it. See where this guy is. I want him all the way over. I think about there is cute. Oh my goodness. Adorable. I'm going to bring it up just a little bit. So cute. Okay, that's good. All right, and then we need a couple little birds. So I'll do a couple, let me grab some actual marker paper because that's what I did yesterday. I just used regular scraps of paper and it's not as easy to alcohol ink color paper that's just, you know, any old paper. So I'll be right back. So we have birds and some of them are facing, you know, one way or the other. So you can kind of look at it. I think I'm just gonna have the one little guy maybe on this fence here. So I think I'm gonna use this guy. And, you know, you can look at bird colors. I normally don't try to make things look true to nature because I think it's easier just to make it fun. So I'll probably get some blue tones going and I will color him in. But let me grab those while this dries a little bit and I'll be right back. So I'm just going to go for it. Like I said, I have no idea. So I'm going to do this bird so he has a little bit of white and some blue, I think. So with white, I always like to take just like the lightest blue color I can find. So this is Diamond Press alcoholic marker. And I'll just kind of go in here a little bit just to give him a little color. He's going to have a white belly here. And then I'm going to use cobalt in the light color and the medium color. And since this is kind of small, what I'm going to do is start with the fine. And again, I'm using light and medium. I don't think I need much more than that because this will get, it's so small, you know, it doesn't need a lot of color. I'm coloring most of him with these colors. And then I'll come in with like the darker color. So that was light, and then I'll come in with some medium. And just add a little bit of darker color where I think it needs it. Which is usually at junctures, and maybe a little bit at the end of his tail. I don't know. And again, so this is Crafter's Companion stamping card when I mentioned that I'm going to use something for actual alcohol ink markers. That's what this is. And I'll just grab some little yellow for his little feet or orange color, and I'll be right back. So after I did my little work, I am definitely going to take the time to make an aperture. And that's just a scrap of paper. I'm going to put some tape on this. I did find my tape. Of course, it's just sitting here, but... And I'm going to run this through. Let's just use this little guy. Oh, a new folder. I have a ton of folders just sitting in front of me in a basket, and I just grab one, so this one's a new one. So I'll put that through there. And this will also go through your marquee, this little folder, just wherever you want to place it through the marquee, it'll be fine, it'll take it in. And I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. I probably could have conserved some of this paper, but that's all right. And so when I make an aperture, this is just going to help me really place my, my die. As you can see, there's like a little hinge there, and I can see exactly where I'm going to cut this little guy. And I'll put that back down. Don't let it move. I'll place some tape, and normally, if I'm using a bigger, you know, if I put this to the marquee, I can just put this whole thing, but since I'm going to use the little guy, I'm just going to trim it down a little bit, because that way this will fit through. And hopefully, if it didn't shift at all, we're going to have a perfectly die cut bird. Look at that. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I did take the time to cut a card base. I have my card, we have our little guy, and then I need a sentiment. So I'm just going to, I was debating if I want to use some Crafter red paper. I think I'll do the red. And lots of, you know, the world needs more of you. Again, if you want to put these in the apertures, these that look a little chunkier, I want to use the banner. So life is better with a friend like you. You know, just lots of sweet things in here. The good things in life are better with you. Let's do that one. This is a big boy. So usually with this kind of thing, I let it drop naturally and see what it does so that hopefully they'll be nice and straight. And like this, has grids on it so I can kind of see what I'm doing when I go to pick it up. Just to have a straight stamp, hopefully. And ink that up. Nice and crisp, looks lovely. And then I'm going to take this guy. So again, you can make your aperture if you need. I think for this one we'll be able to see pretty well what we're doing, so I think that's okay. I'm just going to do that. Tape it down very well and run it through the marquee. I can even run it through my smaller machine with this guy, I believe. Yeah, the longer cutting folder. And I can run it through the marquee also in that longer cutting folder. So I just want to make sure that doesn't move on me, and I will be right back. All right. Oh, fingers crossed, no shifting, and we didn't get any. You can also drop shadow this, and that's what I was thinking, maybe I should drop shadow it. Okay, I went ahead and got that drop shadow going. Just a craft cardstock, and I think we'll glue it together, something like that. Put most of the glue on this guy. Something like that. Okay, just to give it a little sturdiness, looks good, and then it has that pop in the back. And I haven't stuck this together yet. Now I will go ahead and close this up because we're done with kind of manipulating the inside and doing whatever I was doing. So we're just going to glue those pieces together. So a little different from the instructions, I know, but again, it's your kit. You can do whatever you like. But hopefully that was still pretty clear for you guys. So I'm going to hold on to that. I did cut a piece of paper. So now when we measured this at the beginning, we said it was 3.5 already by 8. So I'm not going to squeeze it quite yet, but in my imagination, when you squeeze it over, it's going to be about 8.5 inches, because by the time it moves over and lays flat. But on your card base, if you have the 8.5 inches sticking out, it's kind of odd. And then if you center it and this is going to move over, it's going to be even bigger. So I cut my card base so that is exactly 8 inches across by 7 inches. So I'm going to score it at 3.5 inches, and that'll be the card base. It'll be tucked right behind this. So I'll be right back. Just making sure that's stuck together real nice. So again, it's 8 by 7 and scored at 3.5 inches on the 7-inch side, so that it's just basically going to stick right behind this. That way you still have an actual card that you're going to write on. Or you can just use this. You can write on the back. I mean, however you want to set it up. I'm just going to put it on a card base. And then also, once you have that card base back there, it can act like an easel for you, and it'll hold your cute little scene up. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and straight. Looks great. Okay, once that's set up, I will be right back. Okay, I'm just holding it down. I do want to show you what I mean by folding it flat so it can go in a card. So as you can see, there's that dimension. Okay, this is the moment of truth. I don't want to hurt it, but here we go, pushing it. So if I was to measure this now, it's 8.5 inches, and this can go into the card base, or the envelope, sorry, that you make, your Slimline envelope, or just a business size envelope. It'll fit, and it's nice and flat and ready to be shipped. And then when your recipient gets it, just, they can pop it back up. Obviously, they're not going to keep it that way. And then you have your little message on the inside, whatever it is that you want to say. So I think that works out really well. And I'm going to place this little guy here. Just a little glue on his little feet. Maybe a little bit under his little chin here. He'll be right there. He's interested in that birdhouse. Just like the birds I have outside, they're a little shy, which is interesting. Usually they want to get in there, so they're getting the little birdhouse I just set up right in front of my patio so we can see it through the window. And they're checking it out still. All right. I'm just sticking that there. You can pop it up. You can do whatever you like. I just figure I just stick it down is fine. All right, guys, and there's our little card. Super sweet, dimensional, adorable. The auto ship is ridiculously cute. All of them. If you probably by now, like I said, I have the links there if you've already seen it, or if you want to use the links to pop over to HSN, I would appreciate it. But you'll see, I think the demo is already linked there that Beth had done, and so you can see lots of different things, and you can see the auto ships that are coming up, of course. So which are, like I said, super cute. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Thank you so much, Dime Press, for sending these items for my review. I hope you guys are having a fun craft day. Let me know, in the comments what you're picking up. I picked up quite a bit myself, so I'll see you guys at the next one. Have a good one. Bye now.